So at the time of recording, it is just a few days from the second season of All Out War beginning, and there is a change which has gone fairly under the radar in the update that was released just a few days ago. The reason for this, I imagine, is that it wasn't listed in the patch notes for whatever reason. So if you scroll through here, you have All Out War new rules, new knighthood gift, new tab in the weapon shop, faster rally speeds, and then some UI stuff at the bottom. So it isn't listed anywhere in there. But if you actually go to your military grounds now and go to configure army, they have changed the preset systems, as you can see here, and there is now a real-time strategy tab for the presets. Real-time strategy encompasses both Siege of Winterfell and All Out War, so you can now actually go in here and set up your presets ahead of time, and assumedly never have to fiddle for like 10-15 minutes setting up your presets ever again. This is very useful when you're trying to deploy quickly out base. If you get back late, right before a fight is starting, you need to get out there and deployed quick. If you're putting in multiple accounts or something, there are just tons of uses to this, because previously it would take a lot of time. In the likes of Siege of Winterfell, for example, you just had that long list you had to scroll down, and there was no real reasoning or ordering to all the commander sequencing there. Now you can sequence by troop type with these filters, so you can just filter by pure inf, pure cav, pure spear if you're trying to set up marches of that troop type. So this overall is a really nice quality of life change, and for sure before the All Out War season starts, I would recommend going in here and setting up all your presets just so you never have to worry about it ever again, ideally. In terms of the lineups that I would recommend, it will still be pretty much the exact same as what I recommended in my Siege of Winterfell recommendations a few months ago. The strategic skills or stats haven't changed at all. There are a few sequencing changes I would make to the chart I posted in that video. Most of them are listed in pinned comment in that video, I believe. I'll overlay the video here now if you want to go and look at that for lineup recommendations. Mengo was probably rated a bit higher than he realistically should be now, because he was affecting movement speed on the package in Siege of Winterfell, which he no longer does. So that changes him a little bit, but I still think he's very, very good, particularly in skirmishes and All Out War when there's a lot of movement involved. It'd be very, very useful there. The main differences to what I recommend there will probably be found within bows and infantry primarily. That's because in All Out War, when you send deployments of entirely one troop type, you have the option to tick a box and convert them to special troops. And with bows, if it's the same as last event at least, they'll gain a huge amount of range on their attacks. But one of the downsides of that is that they won't be able to generate rage, which means they won't be able to use active abilities at all. So you're primarily going to want to prioritize more than anything just the passive stats you're getting, and potentially passive abilities also. So Jaime's passive here, for example, would take effect of it, since you don't need any rage to recover to actually trigger that. You just obviously wouldn't get the benefits of his buffs whatsoever, since they're spear specific. The other one, which is slightly different, is infantry. They will be 30% slower movement speed, but they will gain 30% higher counterattack damage coefficient. So your playstyle as infantry will be looking to tank big groups a bit more. They also have the benefit of being the only troop type that's able to inflict counterattack damage onto the bow special units. So counterattack damage will be a main priority of one of infantry builds because of this. And there are a few things that gain value because of that. So Barretts, for example, increases your counterattack damage there. The likes of Jon and Cersei, if you're in whale builds, also increase counterattack damage builds as well. As a bit of an aside, I think I underrated Jon particularly in my chart, I think, in the whale builds, especially because of this, because he synergizes quite well with Sonara and Daeron as a trio in infantry builds, because all three of them want to be attacked. So Sonara will enable the blocking mechanic. Blocking mechanics will then buff your infantry attack with Daeron. That will give you more attack. That attack will then scale into your counterattack damage, and John will then scale up your counterattack damage coefficient as well. So they all work very synergistically there. The playstyle for Spear and Cav should remain pretty much the same, and everything's just what you'd also want for Siege of Winterfell. The only other change is the introduction of Ayrmidon. Now, his active is very good. It's the same as Baelish's at gold also. So 180% normal attack damage increase for 5 seconds. So he has weakness. Synergy with Jaime, where you can multiply up his crits even further. His passive, however, unless I'm misunderstanding it, reads very weak to me. So it's a 30% chance to deal damage to 3 targets near the initial target. So it's like a chain lightning effect. You hit one target and then it hits another 3, so you hit a total of 4 people. But the chain lightning effect only has a damage coefficient of 3%. Maybe that's a typo and it's 30%, but when you actually have him unlocked and you can see all the scaling up rarities, this is what he gives at gold. At grey, he gives 0.3%, so I believe it is intentional. And if that's actually what he does in practice, a 3% damage coefficient on 3 targets, so 9% total, with a 30% proc rate, it's just really meh, to be honest. If you do the averages in that, I think it's, I believe, a 2.7% damage coefficient increase on average to each normal attack. If you're hitting into groups, maybe he'll perform practically better than I think, but in full whale lineups, that just seems a bit understated for me, just like his awakening ability itself. Perhaps if those additional attacks also proc the likes of Baelish's ability, so if they count as normal attacks themselves, and maybe if those normal attacks can then have a percentage chance to reproc Ayrmidon again, or something like that, he could be better in practice. But I wouldn't go in expecting Ayrmidon to be a game-changing commander if he plays like he reads at the very least. So yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. The overall takeaway is just go to your military grounds, go to configure army, go to your real-time strategy presets, set up everything you might want ahead of time, so when you get on that all-out war map or the Siege of Winterfell map in the future, you never have to think about finding the right commanders, what commanders you want. You can just do it right now, think it through just once, and then you're set forevermore.